And going into the Yankee series, we go up 3-0, which was crazy in itself, and then we lose Game 4, and then we're down 5-0 Game 5, right? I mean, everything before then is kind of, whatever. But now we're down nothing Game 5, and you have a unique perspective because you've been on the other side, down 0-3, and you won a game, and now being on the Dodger, you're down 5-0, and you've been on the other side like smelling blood, like we gotta go. So I want to hear both sides, because being down 5-0 there, I'm like, okay, I don't want to go back to LA. If we have to, cool, but like we got to figure out something. And you managed that game differently, and so
I did, Mook, and because I have been on the other side of it. And when you're down 3-0, you're at the point where you have nothing to lose now. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who was favored, who wasn't. When you're down 3-0, everyone is expecting you to lose anyway. So now that, for me, it's freeing. And so they played free, won Game 4. And I will tell you this now publicly, I was so afraid to come back to Los Angeles for Game 6, knowing we still had Yamamoto in our back pocket. But the point being is that if we were to come back, the noise, the pressure becomes real. Mm-hmm. Because then you're going to start potentially being part of history in the wrong way, mm-hmm. a team that gave up a 3-0, because it's never been done in the World Series. We did it in the ALCS, the Yankees versus the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that was the fear of going back. So to your point, yes, I managed with urgency. Even when we were down 5-0, I didn't know how we were going to finish this dang game.
And going in through that game, you get to the 5th inning, and, I've talked about it, but from a managing perspective, I want to hear your perspective on how that 5th inning played out.
I just felt that we're down 5-0, and as that 5th inning started, truth be told, I'm really trying to think about how to really best equip ourselves for Game 6, because they were going to have to exhaust everything.
And Cole was shoving.
I mean, at that point in time, he had a no-hitter.
Yeah. And
so he was shoving. And so for me, Kike leads off with a base hit. Tommy hits a unassuming fly ball, and it gets dropped. And then there's a ball that's not made off Will Smith's bat in the hole, and it's like, uh-oh. And here you come up, and you leg out. And the thing is that's what people don't get, is that Kike makes a turn around, mm-hmm. bends it to make it a little bit more difficult play for Volpe. And if you go back and you watch that play, that's a very heady baseball play. And another one for you is you cue the ball off the end of the bat, but instead of putting your head down and being upset with yourself, you run a hard 90, and the game honored you. Mm-hmm. And that's what I talk a lot about. So those are things that, yeah, they caused some trouble for themselves, but we took advantage of for the way we play baseball, right? And so as you guys started clawing your way back, my thought now shifted to they fought their way back. I've got to now be all in on how I manage the rest mm-hmm. of this game.
And yeah, because it went from, I got to prepare how we're going to look for Game 6 to we can win this one. And so that a lot of your decisions change at that point. Then Freddie gets a hit, and it's 1st and 3rd, and Teo's up. Tell me your perspective on Teo, because, I played with Teo since I was in Boston. He was in Toronto.
Wow.
And which is a long time, and we've been together for a while, and seeing the progression of Teo, seeing what he was to like a fast, didn't hit for power much, really had a lot of swing and miss in his game, but he's a good player, to now, this is Teoscar.
Ooh.
I want to hear like your perspective on what he meant for us.
I think it starts from the beginning, in the sense of my beginning with Teo, as far as betting on himself. I said it in spring training. This is a man that left a lot of money on the table to be in a place where he wanted to be, Los Angeles, to be around players like yourself so he can learn and get better. And there's nothing more powerful than betting on yourself and making sacrifices, whatever it might be. Money, time, family. And that's what Teo did. And so right there, he earned my respect from the get-go. And then from that point on, I've just really never been around a guy who is that mentally consistent on the daily. Mm-hmm. Every single day, good, bad, indifferent, he comes in as the same guy. And I just knew that a guy like that you can count on in the biggest of spots, and that's what he did. He
probably was just chilling.
He was.
He probably was just in the box, just like, I don't even care.
No, you're right.
Even though he cares, he's a dog, course. Right? But like...
But that's like something that anyone can tell themselves that that's how they want to be. But there's something innate with Teo, and that heartbeat just doesn't rise too much where he starts to panic and get nervous.
And, man, he came up and he hit it.
1-2 slider, good pitch, 2 outs, 2 strikes. And, I mean, Freddie's hit was huge, but that was, I mean, that put us ahead.
And when the game is tied there. Yeah, tied the game. And now it's the 5th inning. Is that, like, from a manager perspective, because I want to know, is that like, okay, I have to completely, I need a second to completely flip my brain into thinking about how I'm going to get us through this?
Absolutely. Because you can even look back, and as people will go back, you know, I brought in Bonda earlier, and he couldn't go as long as I had hoped. So then I couldn't extend him. And I brought in Kopi. He couldn't go longer. So, and then also the other one was we had Bazooka, Gratterall, and that was a first and second base, 2 outs. I felt that at that point in time, that was the game. So I brought in Trinan right there to get Volpe. And so I just felt that Bazooka did everything he could possibly do for us. I had to stop the momentum because the postseason, as I've been fortunate enough as you, we've been a part of a lot of postseasons, and the postseason is about momentum. Mm-hmm. And if you look at all these games from the DS to the CS to the World Series, I tried to do everything in my power to stop the momentum and then not let the other team gain momentum. And so right there, bringing in Blake, but then at that point in time, honestly, Mookie, I didn't know how I was going to finish that game. And still knowing I had Walker potentially in my back pocket, but that's only for 1 inning in a plus game.